Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. So today I'm going to spend some time on the Aprilia RS50 here. It's been about a year since I put any videos out on it, and it really hasn't done much other than sit in the corner since then. I've got all the fairings off of it right now. I can't remember why, but as I was taking a look at it, I'm starting to think that it might be a pretty cool little cafe racer build. You know, it's not something I'm going to bring to the track anymore. It's just, I've got race bikes that are way more dialed, and I don't think this will ever be kind of competitive in that same vein. So, you know, it's not going to be a track bike anymore, and riding it around the streets, it'll just be more comfortable if I don't have to, try and bump start it with the fairing on. So if you take a look at it from the side here, if we take this front fairing stay off, and we have a nice, like, fiberglass rear tail there from, like, AirTech, I think it'd look pretty sweet. Running the bike without the fairings will expose some of my horrible fabrication work, like the exhaust hanger right there, and some of my booger welds for getting the engine in there. It's just more incentive for me to go back and clean those up. But today what I'm going to be focusing on is the rear suspension. So what's in there right now is like a Fast Ace cheap shock from, I think it was Amazon or eBay. And the problem was I couldn't find a shock that was the right length, eye to eye, for the mounting points. So this one is a little bit longer and it changes the geometry of the bike. It's something that I think is adding to the fact that it's not very fun to ride. It doesn't take, I have zero confidence in any turns. So what I did is I picked up another shock on eBay. This one, another $50 special here, but at least the shock length is correct, eye to eye. So these are the same length, so it shouldn't mess with the geometry as much. I don't know how the spring weight will affect the ride or anything, but at least it's a starting point. So the aftermarket shocks for these bikes are like $500. I'm not really willing to pull the trigger on that yet. I have heard that Aprilia RS125 shocks will fit. I see them every now and then on eBay, but they're still pretty expensive for me to get a hold of them. So for right now, I'm just going to throw this in and see how it feels now that it's the correct length. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the tank off and the seat out of the way. So I can actually get to the shock mounts already from here, but to make it easier for myself, I'm going to take out the tray, the oil tank, and all of this electrical. I really want to redo this anyway, so might as well take it out now. Next we're going to take the hugger off here, and that will expose the rear shock's lower mounting point. I swear, somebody put this here just to mess with me. So with the rear shock exposed, we can take a look at the Fast Ace here. I have some washers taking up the space between the shock and the subframe, as well as the swing arm. So I'll have to get some spacers made to take up the space. I don't really want to run 20 washers in there. So because the rear shock mounts to the swing arm, I can't support the bike from the swing arm. So what I'm going to do is I have this mount for what used to be a heavy bag. I think it was like a nice 80-pound heavy bag. It's mounted right into the studs. I'm going to run some ratchet straps down and tie it to the subframe here. That'll make getting the shock in easier because we won't have to move the wheel up and down as much just to get the shock mounts aligned. washers. Something I didn't think about. The rear set and the chain are actually in the way of getting to this bolt. So I'm gonna pull off, I think if I just pull off the chain, I'll have enough space to get in there. All right, let's see if that gave us enough room. Yeah, rear set's coming off. Okay, now we should have enough clearance to get that out. Okay, so looking at the stock compared to the Fast Ace on the bench here, we can see that it is actually a substantial amount longer than the stock. So I think that was really messing with our geometry. I don't really remember what this is, but it looks like it's about ½ an inch longer than the stock. So now I'm just going to pop in the stock length replacement. Set this. Oh, got it. I just got the tire on my foot right now. There we go. So it took another couple washers to take up the slack on both the top and the bottom. But look how much space we have down below the wheel now. So just that small like ½ inch there was translating to like almost 2.5 inches. I already lowered it down just a little bit to make it easier to get that in. So like it's a good 2.5, 3 inch change on the geometry. I'll just snug these bolts back up. Alright, I got the chain and the rear set back on, and I've got the tire supported by a couple little jack blocks. Hopefully that will allow me to get the straps off without too much effort here. Alright, that's one. That's it. So with the bike back on the ground, you can see that it sits on the kickstand a lot more naturally now. It was so off before because of the longer shock that it would kind of tiptoe on it. So I'm really excited to get a stock length shock back in there. I'm going to jump on it real quick and see how it feels. It's like a pogo stick. This shock is definitely garbage, but at least it gets the bike in a lot more natural position and it feels a lot better just sitting on it. We gotta replace this though. There's like no dampening. It's just a spring. So I'm gonna end that here today and do a little bit more research on some shocks. Hopefully I can find a replacement that isn't $500. Well, I did do some research. It is really hard to find shocks for this bike. I went through old forums. Aprilia forum is a great resource, and most of the shocks that everybody had been using are either out of stock, they've been discontinued, you name it. But I did notice one thing.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Alright, this poor Fast A shock has had quite a life in the CRF50. It is all gouged up, dirty, disgusting, but it is the exact same length as the stock Aprilia RS50 shock. So we're going to slam it in there and see how it does. Alright, we've got the shock from my CRF50 in there, and it's looking mighty tiny. We'll see if it even supports my weight. Oh, as predicted, a little too soft. It's great for the 50, but definitely bottoming out the RS50. So, after all that, we're back on the stock shock. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a budget solution that would give us a little bit more adjustability or a little bit of a stiffer spring. If you have any leads on anything that'll fit this other than the Bitubo, might have to start an OnlyFans for that. Please let me know down below or email me. Let me know. If you got something for sale, please let me know. I will gladly pick one up. But hey, we're back to the stock geometry. It feels a lot better to sit on. It's not tiptoeing on its side stand. And hey, check this out. Does that not look like it'd make an awesome cafe racer? I think we're on to something here. If you agree, let me know below. If you disagree, I'm sure you'll let me know. But I'm going to be hammered down on this project for now. I really want to get it back on the street. I'd love something to just buzz around on. I still can't ride, my collarbone's recovering, but come January, I want something to just buzz around on. So I think this will be a great project. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garage, and I will see you soon on the next one.